Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Give me a sec. Let me throw all my stuff over here off to the side. And let's jump into it. So how is everybody doing? Good start to the week, hopefully. And hold on, let me just move over. Like all discombobulated right now. There we go. All right. Perfect. Okay. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Everybody good? Let's see. And yeah, I think we're good. Alrighty. So let's get started. Starting off with some fundamentals. Hopefully everybody has it was a great yeah. I mean, absolutely. There wasn't a lot to play. I did take a little scout because I'm doing that challenge on that one account. So I did take a little scalp on US 30 later this afternoon, but caught a quick little look 1 to 12 and that was it. But yeah, I mean, those of you guys that saw like in the morning when I posted that, we really just didn't have any intent to go anywhere. And if you look at the bigger picture, man, what did indices do today? Nothing, So fundamentally, though, there's a reason why we're not seeing a lot of movement, and that has everything to do with this bad boy right here. So fundamentally, hopefully everybody's already looked at what this equates to. It is the largest increase in the federal funds rate that the Federal Reserve has put in. It's a 75 basis point increase since I've been alive. So this is going to be very, 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 very important tomorrow at 2 p.m. I can tell you that my plan for tomorrow is I'm going to wake up early, see if I can get into a position during crossover, take significant volume off going into London close, and just let FOMC come out, and I'll play the mitigation of whatever manipulation is going to come out of this bad boy. Right. But before that, of course, we've got tonight, probably after the stream is over, we got some Australian news coming out with the CPI data. So I am anticipating some small manipulation during Asian session on Australian and Kiwi pairs. Really, in the morning, we're not going to see much. I do think we are going to see a little bit on the indices side. I think we're going to see a little bit coming out of home sales. And they're already forecasting a decrease of 1.1%, which kind of makes sense because as the interest rate has been going up, I know I've been keeping track on it. It's just something I've been looking at because I'm potentially looking at what I'm going to be doing with my home. And, I have noticed that a lot of home sales, the offers have actually been slowing down. So that potentially is going to move some indices tomorrow. But really, everything's going to be just sideways until we get the interest rate hike. And we know it's coming. The question is, are they going to come in with the 0.75? Are they going to come lower? I'm definitely still bullish on the dollar. I think momentarily at that rate release, we're going to see a manipulation to the downside. And then we're just going to see continuation back up to the upside with dollar index. And continuing with the week, we've got Thursday morning, we've got some GDP data that's going to come out. And that's it. I mean, really everything is dollar based. So I bet you can guess what I'm going to be looking at for this week. Everything is with the dollar. So I've got on my plate all dollar crosses. I don't have any yen other than Chef JPY and UJ. These are the only yen crosses I'll be looking at this week. Everything else has just kind of been no man's land for me. And because of the Australian news this week, I'm still looking at AU and NU, but I'm really targeting NCAD and ACAD. Those are the two that I've been really playing well with for the past month and a half. So I'm going to continue to look at those two pairs. But everything really I'm just going to be looking at is going to be dollar driven. We definitely have the dollar that influences pretty much everything else, but I really want to target specifically EU, GU, UCAD. Well, I think UCAD I've moved over to my secondary list. I'll kind of show you my thought process on UCAD. UCAD is kind of in the middle of where I want to do something with it now. But UCHEF is still very much in the game. as well as UJ. So we'll kind of take a look at what I'm going to be looking for on those going forward. And then of course, next week, if we know this is, we're getting into the end of July, next week, going into August is going to be NFP. We have a lot of unemployment job reports, a lot of fund rates next week looking forward. And then, we're in August. So, most of you guys know traditionally in September, I don't trade a lot in September. The last 2 weeks of September, I kind of just shut it down. We approach the end of the fiscal year for banks. So a lot of their data, a lot of their reports have to be filed with the appropriate organizations, and regulatory bodies. So I don't trade a lot in September. Traditionally, February and September are my lowest profit months. So getting into it, let's dive over to the charts. We'll kind of take a look at it, right? Again, everything for me lives and dies with dollar index. So, when we look at what dollar index has done, a whole lot of nothing, right? We've been, for an entire week, we've just been accumulating in no man's land. So I've been very patient with dollar index. When we look at where we are, we know that we're in this leg right here. Let me go to blue. So we know that we're in this leg right here. This was the original reaccumulation. This gave us that leg that gave us market cycles to just take us all the way up to the distribution. And now we're just, I'm just in a holding pattern. I'm waiting to see, do we trade lower? Does this turn into a redistro, which I suspect it will. Do we turn into a redistro and do we come back into our slingshot area that causes this break? Or do we trade back into this manipulation, which is the shakeout that confirmed the reaccumulation, ideally coming maybe into something here? So these are going to be the two areas I'm going to be really just patiently waiting. You can see I've been waiting for a very long time, going on almost 3 weeks now. And, if we can get price to get down there, great. If not, and we break the high, right, which on EU we already have, there's a little bit of divergence between EU and dollar. But if we get that high, then I'm just going to play the continuation play. All right. So bigger picture, I'm still waiting to see if we can come into this area and see if tomorrow is going to be a redistribution, right? A redistribution to get us down into here. And if not, right, what I'm going to be looking at is, just taking a buy once we break this high. So we really didn't do much of anything today as expected, right? I do want to see, do we push up higher? Do we push up higher? And if we do, then coming back into this manipulation, which kind of swept all of this here, getting back into our accumulation that was formed in this area. So I'll be waiting for price to come in here, and I'll be doing the same thing with Euro USD, right? Just the flip side of it. So it's really all going to be dependent upon when we break this high. And if we don't break the high and we end up coming lower, then I'm perfectly fine waiting for price to come lower. All right. So hopefully that makes sense, right? Hopefully that, and I don't know why I've got this double box. There we go. But for me, when we look at this price action, this isn't indicative of sellers coming into the market, right? This is just something I was pointing out this morning. Just look at the reaction we're getting. We're getting buy orders, right? All of these are buy orders coming in. We're getting really good reactions from them. Now what we need to do is we just need that sign of strength, right? We want to see dollar push up, break out of all of this here. And then come back in to show a mitigation of whatever happened in here. The only thing that really is missing from any of this is just a true manipulation, right? Which for me, that could be it right there. That did sweep out all of this. That did give a potential spring. But then I've got to ask myself when I'm looking at what dollar index is doing is why? Why do they come there? There is no mitigation. Right. There is no mitigation of any price action. It isn't like they came into an area of demand. So for me, the only thing I'm kind of grasping at is, we've got essentially a distro into an accumulation. Does this now create a reaccumulation that they'll come back into and mitigate? All right. That kind of gets me into the game with it. But other than that, I'm just kind of waiting. I've got my alerts up here and I've got my alerts down here. So we'll see how this ends up playing out. All right. With Euro USD, like I said, we've got a little bit of divergence because this morning during New York session, we actually took the low, and we could see that overall we are, there we go. Overall, we are still massively bearish on this. Okay. And what I would be looking for is I would be looking for us to come back into our actual structure point, right? And our structure point is going to be this distribution right here. This distribution is what broke this low, right? So we are essentially in this leg. And what I would like is I'd like the accumulation and this to be ultimately a reaccumulation, much like a redistro on the dollar. I'd like this to be the reason that we get up either into our slingshot area, which was the cause of our break, or get up into the extreme, which, you know, again, I've been talking about this specific price action right there for a while. So those are going to be my 2 points of interest. You know, do we come up here and distribute? Do we come up here and distribute? Because this is the leg that we're in. And, you know, I'll be looking for us to come up there. All right. For me, it's pretty simple. You know, now can we do something here and then ultimately create a larger redistribution? Yeah, 100%. Right. I mean, that's ultimately what happened right here. Right. This was a massive accumulation into a distribution, which ultimately broke, meaning on a higher time frame, this price action right here is just a massive redistribution. Right. So, you know, I'm still very much bearish. I'm not closing out of any of the shorts that I'm in. You know, I'm still holding massive shorts on EU. And bigger picture, I mean, when we zoom out, there is no strength in this, right? I mean, we are, if I hide my drawing so you can actually see what the hell's going on, you know, we are just massively bearish, right? We're just keep trading this lower, lower, and lower. Earlier in the week, we actually dropped below the $1 mark on Euro USD, right? We did that last week. And, you know, I honestly, like when we look at this, unless we actually break unless we break above here, I'm not interested in trying to even hedge this. You know, I attempted a couple different hedges. Most of them were just break evens. You know, there wasn't really any reason for me to try to buy this because we are massively bearish on this. You know, dollar index is just continuing to ride this up. So that's my plan with Euro USD, right? Hopefully that makes sense. And what I'll be looking for on GU, right? What I'll be looking for on GU is much of the same. I'm looking for shorts, right? I'm still holding a tremendous, I'm holding more GU shorts than I am holding EU shorts. And what I'd like to see is we're definitely, you can already see like my thought process is that I'm just anticipating redistro here at some point. We do have a potential distribution, right? 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive, and a UTAD, but I don't have any weakness, right? This is what we're doing is we're just making lower highs. So there is no sign of weakness yet. And what I would like to see is I'd like to see if this just continues up and potentially gets into this price action. This is going to be the very first area where I'm looking for price to come into. Why? Because when we look from an order flow perspective, we're in this leg, right? Hopefully everybody understands that. We're in that leg. So if I go out to like a 30-minute, there you go. If I go out to a 30-minute, you know, we had a redistribution here, right? This was a massive redistribution. We do come in and tap into 50% of the redistribution. All right. And then from there, what do? We end up selling off, right? There was a lot of really good plays out of in here and we sold off, making a new low. And this for me is our last redistribution or our slingshot, which causes that low. So this is the very first area I'm going to be paying attention to up in here. You know, do we come up? Do we actually consider this to be our distro? Maybe we do something like this. That weakness then gets me in to short it off. That's something I'll be watching. But I'm going to be waiting for the continuation move. You know, ideally these two, there we go. So we know massive sell orders came in here, right? We know a ton of sell orders came in here. We know that this manipulation here needs to be mitigated. So for me, anything coming back into this area right here or into this area right here gets me in to continuation sells. All right. Until we get there, you know, I'm going to watch to see what we're doing, but just look at how long we've been here. right? I mean, for me personally, I'm not interested in trying to babysit a trade, you know. So for the last 8 days, this thing has just been sideways. All right. With DXY, if it accumulates in no man's land and it makes a new high, does that mean there are strong buyers? Because otherwise they didn't mitigate anything. Well, I wouldn't say it was strong buyers. I would just say that they're playing a continuation play. So they're not mitigating out of anything. What they're doing is just continuing, right? They're just going, they're buying at a discounted price from where price was. They purposely push price a little lower, but I'm going to wait for the reaccumulation. All right, that's what I'll be doing with dollar crosses. So we'll see how GU ends up coming into my target area. I mean, are we in a valid area right now? Yeah, we are. Right. Absolutely, we are. However, like I said, we're getting no weakness. Right. Until I see actual signs of weakness, you know, what do we do? When we actually look at to see, well, where are we? Well, we are bullish from here. We caused this break, right? So we're bullish here. And then price ends up coming into the slingshot that causes that and then makes a new high. And then what do we do this morning during New York session? Well, we just came into essentially the shakeout or the accumulation phase of our reaccumulation, and we reacted from it. So we are still we are very much still in bullish order flow on GU. So until I see really that sign of weakness, I'm not going to try to sell this yet. Okay. I was interested in trying to buy it as a hedge, you know, because I am holding shorts, but we just haven't come into an area where I wanted to buy it from, right? This was the last area right in here where I was contemplating buying it. And, you know, at this point, I was also looking to see if we get something in here that gives me a definitive reason as to get into like a reaccumulation with a clean shakeout, you know, but we're getting pretty close to the area where I want to sell from, you know, and that's, you know, for me, I'm just going to sit back and wait for the sells. I see this as clear as views. We're pushing up and grabbing liquidity, then we're going down. Wait. So you see this as we're pushing up to grab liquidity and then going. Yeah, but so the only issue I have with grabbing liquidity, right? What's the purpose, or at least what is your interpretation of grabbing liquidity? Why are they grabbing liquidity? What are your thoughts? What do you think about it? They're filling, yeah, Andrew, you're right. They're filling orders, right? They're filling sell orders. That's why they're grabbing liquidity. And the only issue I have with filling orders is like when we really pay attention to the price action, right? Like let's get into this 1 minute for a second. And let's just look at what we have here. Hold on. I guess maybe let's go to the 5 minutes so we can see it. You won't enter a trade until I see a grab of liquidity. So what basically means it's orders getting out of new orders coming in. So you personally won't enter a trade until you see a grab of liquidities. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, for me, when they grab liquidity, that just means that they're filling their sell orders, right? They're manipulating a high so that they can get orders filled at a discount. The issue I have though is when I just break down this price action in here, right? Big sell order came in here, right? Equal highs above, they're going to run that. Okay. Do they run all equal highs? Or what if, you know, what would be the reason for them to run the equal highs? It's just to fill their sell order, right? If they don't have any more sell orders to fill, they're not going to run it. So for me, I've got to look at, well, what do I see? Right. You'll explain. Sure. Here we go. Let's see I'll give you a chance to explain it here. Hold on. Let me find you. Hold on. Oh, well, it was alphabetical. There you are. Hold on. All right, man. I'll give it to you. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it. So this is my whole thought process, right? So you see the candle that sprung it all the way down, right? So let's look at, let me zoom in so I could look at where
No, you can
that's
annotate it.
around 1 point, pardon me,
No, annotate on the
1.1.
screen.
Oh yeah. I'm on my phone right now. So hold on. Let me join real quick on my laptop real quick. It'll take me like 2 seconds. Pardon me about that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, joining up right now on my laptop.
So let's see. You're saying take out imbalance always occurs no matter what. Taking out imbalance occurs no matter what. So in a downward movement, short buys work. All right. Yeah. I mean, I personally stopped counter trend trading. So I'm not worrying about short buys.
All right. Okay, so we're good. All right. So let me draw. Okay, so you see this okay, so let's start it back from this candle. So we started back from up here, right? This is
Mhm.
your breaker candle. We took it down. We had your expansion down. We set your low, right?
Yep.
So set your low. So we have your trap right here, and then you have your trap right there. So once you have your trap, then we start all over again, right? Then we start the whole trend again. So
What's a trap? Tell me what a trap is.
so trap is areas in the market where average retail traders are getting trapped in, you know. So basically, right?
So what's your average retail trader? How much liquidity is an average retail trader putting into the market?
Well, it's not really, what it's not really into what retail traders do, honestly. It's really about what liquidity, where's the liquidity at, really? Where
Right.
liquidity stands in the market, because what really drives the market is really liquidity.
No, I agree 100%. But how much liquidity is retail traders putting into the market?
I wouldn't know specifically exactly, the correct number, but I'm pretty sure it's such a low amount of volume.
So let me ask you this question. So you get a bank like Morgan Stanley who's making, let's just say, $150 million a day
Right.
on one trade. What do they care about every retail trader in the world?
Right. They don't care
With
about, but I understand what you mean. They don't care about what other retail traders
Sure.
are doing, right?
Yep.
Because they're going head to head against other institutions, right?
Right. Okay.
So I understand that, right? So the whole point is pricing in, like you said, discount or premium.
Right. Yeah. They got to get their order filled. So I guess
Exactly.
my question is, what does retail have to do? I'll give you an example, right? Because I know for a fact on Euro USD, it takes $1 billion in orders to move one pip.
Right.
Right. So who cares about retail trading up? Who cares that this is a trap for retail traders and this is a trap for retail traders?
Well, that's the thing. If you understand where people are getting trapped at,
Mhm.
then you'll avoid getting trapped where they're getting trapped at, right?
Okay. All right. So I'll give you. All right. Go ahead.
So that's the thing where I'm saying, right? So if you have this trap right there, this trap right here, right? So this is the low that is set, and this is the high that is set. What are we doing? We're manipulating above these highs, right?
Mhm.
And then we're setting liquidity under these. So what are we doing? So basically, when we come, this is coming after you break structure to the upside, you grab liquidity to the upside, you come back down into the range, right? And you just start accumulating. That accumulation, if you think about it, it's just giving expansion up. Oh, pardon me, I'm gonna redo that. That's a little sloppy. Let me clear this. Right. So what we're doing is we're coming here and we're doing this. Right. So this is a whole that's basically telling you, okay, now we're bullish. We come back into the range, we start accumulating, right? We start accumulating, and then we start seeing that price is holding down right here. So we don't want to break further down. If we're seeing that we're not breaking further down, that just means that we're continuing going up, and we have liquidity above here. So if we see the trend move, right, it should continue, and then you have liquidity above this. Run this. Your TP should be above this, and then you should be selling above this. It should give you a wick off to the downside.
What do you mean a wick off to the downside?
So basically, once you take out areas above here,
Mm-hmm.
you should have you should have massive volume. What time frame is this? This is only the 5 minute, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
should have massive volume coming in at least to take out this liquidity that lies around here.
All right. So you're saying that
So buy
price.
up to
Mm-hmm.
to this entries above here.
Mm-hmm.
Once you buy up above here, I'm looking to sell down below.
Okay. But so let me ask you a question. Why wouldn't you, let's just do this. Hold on. So when price was here, right, and you've manipulated the high, why wouldn't you look for a short here to short this down?
You say, why wouldn't you? Because if you think about it, you come here and you're just testing basically the candle that this is the reaccumulation that took this high. So
Mhm.
that's why it's coming back to that.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
always does that. So every time you break structure to the upside, right, where you're coming down to, you're every single time you're coming down to the reaccumulation that took, that took that candle that sprung it down in here.
Mhm.
So basically, it's just coming back down to that.
Mhm.
The
I agree.
reaccumulation that took this right here. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's not always gonna, I mean, I would have been perfectly fine with it coming down into here as well and going higher. But
Right,
yeah,
right. There's always different
we're
possibilities, right?
because we don't have enough, right?
Exactly.
We're
Enough
only in
information.
we're
Exactly.
only
When
in
we don't
one,
have
two, three drives.
three, right?
We needed our fourth drive.
Exactly.
So yeah,
Exactly.
no, I got you. Yeah. I mean, that's a good explanation. What I was going to get into here was when we look at the price action, what do we see? Right? We see that we have, we'll do all the sell orders first. We know that a massive sell order came in here. So for me, this is my first area of testing, right? This is my essentially my climax. And we see obviously a really nice distribution right in here. So we know that sell orders are coming in, but look at the reaction we see. Doesn't give me a lot of confidence that of their commitment to do anything. But what we do see is price coming in, mitigating. I guarantee if I put a fib on it, that's 80%. And we're walking this down to show what? To show our sign of weakness.
Right.
So we've got sellers present. Another massive sell order comes in here, giving me my potential upthrust, right? And what do? We see price that does give indication that sellers did push this down. But more importantly, we have another distribution that comes in here, but it fails to break structure.
To the downside.
Right? Fails to break structure. So now when we look at buyers, what do we see? Well, we see that we have buy orders that come in here, right? Because you could see that really clean, that makes a new high. We have an accumulation that occurs here that makes a new high. And look at the amount of orders. So just think about time and effort. Think about how much orders got filled in here, right? And then what do we see? We see another accumulation in here making the new high. So I'm not ready to sell this yet. I'm not even going to be ready to sell it up here yet until I get this massive distribution to confirm itself.
But you see what it does though, right? This is perfect right there. You said it yourself. So if you pinpoint on both sides, right? This is what I do. I ping pong, right? I ping pong trade. I swing trade ping pong. So if you understand on what side, so now you have the right here, this is the buy side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have the sell side. Don't you see that it just did the same side on both sides?
Well, yeah.
So what do you think it's gonna do?
Right? They have to. If let's just say that let's say that I'm the bank that's doing this, right? In order for me to compose this schematic, I need to buy here and I need to sell here.
I understand.
The most important thing is I'm filling majority of my sell orders in these highs, and I'm just manipulating the market on the buy side to get more influence, more assistance to push this higher so that I can fill from more premium spots, right? The one thing, I mean, you could play ping pong all day long with it. I personally don't. It's not worth it for me. I'd rather just play the directional bias move.
Bias, right? According to the bigger time frame.
Yeah. Because I'm not throwing money You know, I mean, just off of something like this.
I understand. I don't ping pong based on 5 minutes. This is like a no-go. Like I'm looking at 3 daily, weekly, and
Yeah,
monthly.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. A hedge, sure, absolutely. I'll hedge on a bigger time frame, you know. But no, yeah, good explanation. I mean, for me, like what I wanted to get at was, you know, we definitely saw evidence of sellers, but we're not getting the push down. We're not getting the continuation. We're not, for me, this really isn't telling me that we are ready to do anything with. So until we get into my point of interest up here, I'll just sit back and wait, or I'll wait for us to break structure. Because who knows? I mean, we could, right? Theoretically, we could tonight just end up breaking. And if we break, then I'll be interested in playing another lower time frame schematic to take this lower, right? But if we don't break and we go higher, I'll wait up here. All good, all good. Yeah, good job with it, man. Hold on. Let me catch up, man. Oh, let's see. Sometimes counter trend makes a profit for the day. Yeah, absolutely. For me, it doesn't. For me, I when I did, you know, back in, what was it, like, I think the end of 2020, when I did my, I'm just not that good of a counter trend trader, apparently, you know, because when I did the amount of trades I took for the profit and then divided it by the time that I spent managing, journaling, and actually like profiting from it, it wasn't worth my time and effort. You know, it was, I don't remember the exact stats on it, but I remember I could have, those of you guys in the United States, I could have gone and applied at Walmart and become a greeter, and I would have made more money as a greeter over the course of the year than I did counter trend trading. So that's why I don't do it. Let's see. Let's see. What's up, Jake? Congrats, Jake. Jake passed his challenge finally. All good, man. Let's see. Well, it's not so much buyers and sellers fighting, right? It would, because realistically in a schematic, it could be the same entities. What they're doing is they're just manipulating to fill their orders, right? You really don't know who's behind it because we don't have the order books, right? I can't see the order book on what orders are coming in from whom, which is what we have at a disadvantage. So yeah. Poor Jake, bro. But yeah, so GU, yeah, absolutely. GU, I'm just waiting. You know, I want to see. I'll tell you this right here, this price action right here, doesn't give me indication buyers are coming into the market, right? Because when we zoom out, right, if we get up to like the 30-minute time frame, we need an accumulation, right? If you figure out your market cycle, you need an accumulation to get price back up into a discount so that they continue going down, right? I mean, just look at, and you know, I know I talked about this a lot for a while, but just look at every time price comes in and, well, hold on, let me get a little bigger picture. There we go. Just think about every time that price comes in and accumulates, right? That reason for the accumulation is just to get into premium, right? Accumulation just to get into premium, and then we just continue selling off. So remember that an accumulation doesn't necessarily mean demand or buyers coming into the market. Accumulations can also be orchestrated by supply, by sellers in the market, just pushing either by the process of take profits, right? Or just straight up manipulation, trying to get price back up to discount so they can resell it off. Okay. Let's see. You asked your broker for the order book. Yeah, dude, I'll tell you right now, even brokers won't even have it. Some of these smaller brokers, they're just a third party. You know, they're not even their own liquidity provider. You know, now you have like companies like, you know, like a Wanda, they're a broker and their own liquidity provider. You know, but you get some of these brokers that you've never heard of, they don't even have direct access to the exchanges, right? They rely on a third party. So they won't even know. But yeah. As an accumulation right now in a premium. Let's see. So wait a minute. Well, what do you mean? Like they're accumulating this to sell it off out of here? You want to look at UJ? Sure. On a 3-day? Okay. Oh, hold on. I'll hide my drawing tools. All right. What about it? You're in a short all the way from the top. You're in a short all the way from the top. So you're in a short, well, I wouldn't say all the way from the top. I mean, what are you in a short from, up here? So what made you take this short? Go ahead, hold on. There you go.
Appreciate it. So this is my thought process. So I was just a little skeptical. So I entered of, let me go to, that's it. So I did enter above here, right?
Okay, but what, hold on. So what made you
Enter above, you gotta go back out. You gotta zoom out.
zoom out? Okay, sure. To where?
Go right there. That's perfectly fine.
Oh, wait, where? 4 hour?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I had entered these shorts, right? Above here. That's where my whole thought process it came from. So I had entered originally the shorts, and then I got out about right here. I got out. So then I had bought in here, but I got manipulated out. So
But what's
wait. I'm gonna teach you why I'm running up to here.
Okay.
So my whole thought process. So in here, I bought in, but I got manipulated out. So the whole move started playing out. It went up. It went up. It went up. Right. So looking at this price action, so I already knew that the reason that we was going above higher. So we was looking at interest. Obviously, the interest rate hike. So we're pushing the markets higher. Now, fundamentally wise, the Japanese yen keeps losing, is weakening. So
do you know why?
I understand why.
Why?
Because they still are in quantitative easing. They still,
Well, no, just look at UJ. UJ is the diametrically opposed asset.
I understand
And
you
yeah.
to EU and it follows with
No, not to EU, to the Japanese yen. UJ is the diametrically opposed asset to the Japanese yen. All you got to do is invert them. It's the same chart.
Right,
So
right,
if UJ is bullish, that means that the yen is bearish.
right. Makes sense. So fundamentally wise, right? Interest rate hikes, obviously right here kept pushing markets up, right?
So hold on though. Hold on for a sec. So we are here, right?
Yes, sir.
What makes you call the top and say that this is where we're selling from?
Okay, so we start pushing right here. Let me just clear this up right here. So what I seen was that we had this consolidation in here.
Okay.
We had the high.
Hold on. We're gonna go to 1 hour so we can see it. So we had a high. Okay.
We set the high right here. We had this consolidation. This consolidation for me is liquidity, right? We had this consolidation and we come in here and we set the low.
Okay.
We set the low, right? So above here, right? I already know that above here that we should start looking, for sell opportunities.
But
Why?
Didn't you just say, because weren't you saying that we trade into the reaccumulation that
And that
causes
took
this high?
Yeah, yeah.
So why
Exactly.
wouldn't we expect this to make a new high?
The reason why is because you guys zoom out. It's because look, we're coming in here. It's like a reaccumulation, and this right here.
Where?
So
Yep.
always, if you gotta zoom out for you to see it, it's the same pattern all over again. You're gonna see it.
Zoom out like this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Watch it.
where am I
redo it.
zooming? Where am I zooming out to?
Okay, so leave it right there. That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
So right in here, right?
Yep.
Right in here, you have, this is the same pattern that just happened. I'm gonna show you it happened just again previously. So it's the accumulation, and then inside here we have inside here and this consolidation is average price, right? According to this structure point, this is inside here we have average price.
And
So
what is
every
average
time,
price?
pardon me.
What is average price?
So my average price is that when we have in a whole contraction, right? Well, average price is I see price contracting, consolidating. I'll box up that consolidation, right?
Okay.
And then we will see price either contract on one side and continue bullish, right? That's a bullish scenario. So if
So let's go into that price action. Let's see it. So what are we talking about here?
okay, perfect. I bet. So let me break this down. So in this structure point, we have this low that's set right here. So below, I understand below this, we have liquidity below that low. Why? Because this low sponsored and led to this liquidity inside here being taken out, right? So technically, this candle right here is my breaker candle to the upside, right? So we set a high right here.
Okay.
And then price starts rejecting down, walking down, right?
Mm-hmm.
We break this.
So you take a buy out of there, then is what you're saying.
Pardon me?
You take a buy out of here?
Yes, you can literally hedge your way up, and your TP will literally be anywhere above this. Let me clear that. Your TP can be, let me clear this. Where I would start looking anywhere above this or anywhere in here when we can start mitigating our candles.
Okay, but why are you mitigating out of here? What did this do?
Because this candle is sponsored at the same time. It's all about what sponsoring, right?
And what do you mean by sponsor?
By sponsor is it started.
It started. Okay.
It started. I always look like, so every time price breaks structure, every time we grab liquidity, major liquidity and stuff like that, we're always going back to the candle the structure point that sponsored the move.
Okay, so why is this what sponsored the move?
So inside this consolidation, we had a whole rally up. We had a whole rally up, a small accumulation, right? Where you have touch right there, touch right there. So basically, you can say a trend line, right?
All right, so wait a minute. So hold on. So where's your accumulation there?
My accumulation?
Yeah.
Well, it started from down here, and this is your reaccumulation. You have your reaccumulation.
Sure. Okay.
Price sets up.
So, but I guess that's my question. Why is this your sponsor and not down here where the move actually starts?
Well, this is in this structure point. Yeah, he's low. It's because we're getting out of hand, but
well, I'm just trying to figure it out. That's all.
I understand.
I'm all about getting
understanding your thought
sizes.
process, right?
Yeah. So like you've got the first reaccumulation here that starts this move.
Right. It starts the whole move to the upside.
Gotcha.
And then you can start seeing price is just correcting itself at the same time.
Yep, I agree. Okay.
So we set right there, and then we set right here.
Okay.
So look right here. This is the candle that sponsored down. So you already know that above here is liquidity. Like I said, that would have been my TP1.
Okay, sure. All right, I got you.
So as you can see, price, it respects right here is rejects right there, right?
Yeah,
so
it reaccumulates, right?
Right.
I mean, that's for me. This is a clear reaccumulation,
accumulation.
Right? Three drives. We have
and
our
then
Frankfurt.
Once I see,
Frankfurt manipulation.
Right there.
Yep.
And then this is what I mean, right here. This is what I mean. The same thing that happened right here. So you're gonna see it. It's like a sideways dump. It always happens. So before we grab major liquidity, so price is just it's just building up orders right here, building up orders so we can push prices higher.
Yep. Yeah.
So once we push price higher, right, we mitigate off some imbalance candle over here, but at the same time we're just leaving liquidity above there because we haven't fully mitigated out of the positions in here.
Out of which positions?
Well, you're gonna have to like zoom into that if you want me to get into detail, because I'll get into detail.
Into these, but yeah, but so what does this position have anything to do with? We're in a bullish market, right? Aren't we in this
Yes, we're
here?
yeah.
Okay, so what do we like for me? Hold on. What do I care about this? I'm just waiting for the buy, right? So I'm waiting for price to reaccumulate, which we finally do here and cause our break.
After we tag that out.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is just weekended buyers.
But yeah, so okay, so I was gonna so the way that I look at it, I go through candle by candle and see the story. I read the story.
Oh yeah, yeah, good. I mean, that's the same thing I do. Yeah. All right.
Okay, so pushing up to here, this is your this is your average price, right? So you had the this is my average price where you set here and then you set here. This is the low that is set. Once it set the low and then manipulated that low, price won't reverse until it does that. It sets the low and then manipulates that low, right? So
Yep,
what
yep.
I'm trying to say, price will either set a low or high, and then in order for price to reverse, it has to manipulate that out. So this is my average point. This is the high that is set. This is the low that is set, right? This is
So
the
where are you getting into your trade from here?
So as soon as I understand that institutions buy below average price and they sell above average price. So
Okay.
if this is my average price, right, I am looking for price to settle below average price, which is this right here.
Okay.
So this is my average price. And I see that once this low is set up, let's say once you see that low is set up, it comes back to average price, right? You start selling it down, but at the same time, that's just coming down to take that low that I said. It sets
Okay.
a low. Once it takes that low, you start seeing bullish momentum into the market, right?
So where do you get in? So let's see. Hold on. So let's get in here. Hold on. All right. So yeah, show me how you get into this. Hold on. So we're here,
Average
right?
price.
Yep, we're here. And we know this is the low. So hold on. Boom, we break, right? So now
And now
what?
we break.
Yep. So now what?
So what am I looking for now? So now we see that we grab liquidity to the downside and we manipulated out the low that is set, right?
Mhm.
So what am I looking? I honestly would have a limit below this.
Okay. So how would you put
I
your
would, pardon me?
how would you put so yeah, like tell
I
me.
would have limit that. I would have put a limit under that.
So hold on. Let's look at it. So we have whereabouts, how low?
Literally on that.
On the
On the
low.
low.
And where do you put your stop loss?
I'll give it a 10 pip stop loss.
10 pip. All right, gotcha. Now why 10?
That's just how how much I risk.
Okay.
Depending on which currency it is. That's just like on EU. If I'm really scalping, I'm giving myself like a 1 to 5 pip stop loss.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, so we come in. Let's see.
But since it's
All right.
UJ, I'm giving myself like an extra more room to prove. So
Yeah, I
that's why I
gotcha.
said 10 pips.
Okay, so 10 pips. And now what are we doing with it now?
Okay, so now am I seeing how are we reacting after we swept that low right there? How is price reacting?
Okay,
So I said I'll let it play out a little bit more.
sure.
So how am I gonna know that we're fullish committed to bullish? I'm not fullish committed to bullish until we break above here.
Okay, all right, gotcha. So hold on. Let's see. Let's see when we get up there. All right. Ooh, no, not yet. Let's see. All right, there we go. All right, so we broke.
Now I'm fullish committed to bullish. So what do I see? You had the low that is set right here, and then you have the sponsored, and this candle in here. The candle that took it was this one right here. So this is that the test of that structure line.
Okay.
Of the neck. So once we see that, you see price starts moving up. You see that price in here is just holding down. It's holding down, right? So it's building more orders. So
Okay.
it's building more orders. So once I see it's building more orders, what am I waiting for? My retracement.
So where are you getting into your buy? out
So
of this, out of the
so
yellow?
I would expect a retracement right here.
Okay. All right. So let's get in there. Let's see. Are you still waiting for that retracement there, or is it done for you?
No, okay. So I was waiting for right here. So we didn't wake off of that. We didn't test that one more time. So I was waiting for a test of the test. So we didn't. We come into this candle, we test, and we push higher. So now what am I waiting on is to see. So you see how price starts rejecting. We're bullish now. Now that we took above here, I'm
Mhm.
waiting for a re-entry to see if I can head higher.
And where are we taking the
Where am I heading? I'm still looking at, even though it wicked right here, I still have two possibilities where I'm still waiting in here,
Okay.
or I'm still waiting in here. I'm gonna be patient, or we can have a test of that candle right there.
I gotcha. All right.
So
Yeah.
I
So
have,
for
as of
me,
right now, yeah,
for
as of
me,
right now,
I'm waiting right here. This
okay,
is where I get my buy. Somewhere in here
in there, okay.
is where I'm waiting. But okay. All right. So let's see. Hold on. So we reaccumulated. You're still waiting in here, or is it done now?
No. So we're bullish now. We're full on bearish. We just took out this high right here. So
Okay.
we're full on bearish now.
Well, I can tell you because I've been
Intermediate. This is just small time frames.
yeah. I've been playing UJ for a long time. We don't come back anywhere in here after this.
I see that.
So
After you take, yeah, because like I said, we're bullish now.
yeah. Okay. So hold on though, because I want to get back to the whole point of, hold on. I want to get back to this.
The whole point of the selling, yeah.
Yeah. So you are,
Okay, so
hold
it
on.
runs high, it
Yep.
runs high, and then you start seeing that price just tests the liquidity that's just grabbed around here.
Okay.
It tests that. So once you see it finds that low,
Yep.
right? What do you cause in effect, right? So how does price react? We push aggressively to the upside.
Right. Yeah. Reaccumulates. So where'd you get into your short is my question.
So I got into my short right here.
No, I thought you got in before that though, first.
No. I said
All
in
right.
here, on this one, on this side, on this side, on
Up
this
here?
side.
I gotcha. Wait, over here?
On
Back in
this side,
May?
yeah. Yeah, on this
Got in
side.
May?
I got on this side, yeah.
I got you. So you didn't get in now, you said.
Yeah, up here on recent price action.
Okay. All right. So here, walk me through this one then. Hold on. So we get at what point, where'd you get your sell? You got in here, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's do this. Let's look at it, bro.
I still have a screenshot of that too. That's
No. It's all good, bro. Absolutely, man. All right. So we pretty much confirmed the bullishness coming in, right? All right.
Mhm.
So what are we looking for us to look for our short?
What I'm looking for, what I'm looking for to take this.
Yep. To take the liquidity. All right,
Yeah.
got you. All right. So we took it.
And possibly I'm looking for price to come up here.
Okay. Into
and
this.
and come test this candle right here.
Okay. But I guess my question is this, right? Looking at this, what is telling us, or what's giving us a reason for us to look for a short and not just keep buying the crap out of this?
Why would I? What is telling me to go short?
Yeah. Because like, aren't we? So we know from this price action here, it's a
It's
reaccumulation.
bullish.
So we know we're bullish here, right? And we know that there's a there's a redistribution that taps in to our cause, right? Which ultimately gave us the leg. And then we've broken order flow to the upside. So like what's telling you sell out of this price action because we're going to go lower? What's giving you that confidence to do that?
Well, it's more, my whole thought process at the same time was more of a kind of like a sell to buy.
Sell to buy. Okay. Gotcha. So you're anticipating it coming into here is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. So, all right. So I kind of got your thought process behind it. So now what do we need to see?
Why I say I ping pong, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you right now, like for me, I was just looking buys the whole way. I wasn't trying to,
But that's the thing. I like to cover myself. I like to hedge my way into my entries. So,
okay. So yeah, it's great to do that if you're already in buys. you know, for me at this point, I'm not into any buys out of here. So I can't, for me not being in a buy and trying to sell this, it's not a hedge, it's a counter trend trade, right? The hedge would be if I'm in the buy already, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, okay. All right. So talk to me now, where or what would we be looking for our confirmation, or what we want to see? Hold on, let me get into a 15-minute chart here for us to look to short this sucker. So what do we got?
Okay, like I said, so let me go back to annotating. So we just grab annotate. Okay. So we just grabbed, we broke down to the downside, right? We set a
Yep.
low and we didn't break it. We just test a low. We start running higher. We grab this intermediate.
Uh-huh.
We start pushing higher. What am I waiting on? I'm waiting at least for price to push above here and take that out.
Okay.
Take that structure.
Which we did, I think. Right? Yeah, we did. Boom, we broke it.
Okay. Now, what am I looking? I'm looking for at least, in my view, clear as view, for price to come into this candle.
Okay.
And then push down.
So hold on, let's see. All right. So we're at that candle right now.
Okay.
So now what?
So look at, leave it right there. So this is the setup that I always see. This is the setup. This is the setup. So every single time, look, we have the whole accumulation. This is the setup right here. So this,
we got a reaccumulation. Gotcha.
okay, that's the reaccumulation. This is a setup where we have the candle, it goes up to the top side. This is your breaker candle.
Okay.
It grabs liquidity to the upside. It grabs this liquidity and it pushes into the candle that I was saying, the order block that I was waiting on, right?
Okay.
So once I see this, I know this is what I know that it means that it's charging up to go higher and manipulate. So
Okay.
we have an accumulation turn into a distribution.
Okay. All right. So at what point do we distribute or confirm the distribution?
So above, I'm in on the trade on this one, on this candle. Because I told you,
So
I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this to get hit.
Gotcha.
So I can short.
So you put in what, like at the open of it, where would you have put your limit in?
Looking at this, look right here, right there. So you can put a line literally on.
So you got in right at the top. Pretty much.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And like you said, what, 10 pip stop loss, or are you taking it up to the high?
Nah, you can put it up to the high. Be safe.
30 pips?
Be safe. Yeah. Being safe.
Yeah. Well, what did you do?
I kept it as 10 pips.
All right.
But
So
I'm saying as demonstration purposes, you can leave it at the high. Being
okay.
safe.
All right. So I guess my only question would be this, right? Out of all of this, where's our sign of weakness?
Well, so we look like at this distribution and we broke down, right?
But where do we break to? Nothing, right? We didn't break into.
That's true. We didn't. We filled this fair value gap right here.
Right.
Right. But at the same time, my thought process was that we can probably start, once you took that, this is your retracement, right? And then we could probably start seeing lower prices to push back up.
Okay. I get, so my question would be then this: what out of this is keeping price from reaccumulating, just going higher?
What's keeping it?
Yeah. Like for me, when I look at this price action, I don't see evidence of sellers coming into the market, right? For me, this price action being what it looks like is profit taking. Obviously, this was news, right? We know this was news. And yeah, exactly. We came in and mitigated news with more news, and then we pushed higher. So like when I'm looking at the price action, I mean, this really doesn't, I mean, let's just say your target is what? I mean, you could see like where I would want it to have played out of, right? For me, is it worth, let's just say we get into 50%. Is it worth me holding, let's just say it takes half the time from here to here. This was 11 days. Is it worth 11 days of my time cut in half? Is it worth 5 days of my time for 1 to 12? For me, it's not, right? for me to babysit a trade and use up margin and equity for a 1 to 12 on a 365 pip move, it's not something I want to deal with, right? Because then
Right.
that just means that one trade, that's another trade. I don't know what like the leverage you use or the margin requirement. I could tell you for me on a 1 to 50 leverage with a Wanda and UJ being a 4% margin requirement, it's gonna prohibit me from taking a better trade on, say, like a 5 pip stop on UJ. And now I've got to cut my risk even lower
Right.
because my margin's being eaten up by it. So okay, so let's look at it, right? Because I'm curious. I always like to get different points of views on it.
Points of view from different people. Right.
All right, so we come in and all right, so we break the high.
So we take the high.
So you get stopped out here.
Mm-hmm.
And now what? Now what are we doing? Why do I have two, dude? Oh, okay, so now what do we do?
So looking at, we take the high,
Mhm.
and we're still, so looking at this candle, I'm still looking at if we get one more swing up to then go down.
Okay, one more swing up. All right, gotcha. All right, so we don't get that swing up. So now what?
We had the failed rally. Okay. So after you had the failed rally, why it's not annotating? Okay.
I
Once
guess.
you have the failed rally, you see that we push back into here.
Yep.
Price is pushing back up.
So you would think you would be looking for buys, right, out of the reaccumulation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about looking for the buys on it. I've been buying UJ. I don't know. I mean, how long have I been looking to buy? I've been buying UJ for like 2 years. You know, so I haven't tried to sell this thing because when I look at the bigger picture, like for me, I'm not trying to call the top. I'm not trying to call the top on this thing. Now we are getting pretty damn close to where I do want to short it from, right? I think I had my list. Hold on. I think I had where is is it on the 4 hour? I know I had it here somewhere. Why is it not here? Oh, you know why? Because it's on Chef J. And that's why on Chef J, I was trying to sell it. Let's see. Was it on the daily? Oh boy, Trading View is deleting my markings, man. Trading View is deleting. Is it on the weekly? Let's see. Oh, there it is. There's my potential reversal point, 140.25 to get lower. But yeah, for me, my biggest thing is I'm not calling the top because I don't want to take needless losses. Instead, I'll just continue to to play the buys. Just like like on UJ for me right now, what am I waiting for? Like you could see what I wanted to see. I wanted price. If we look at this, we're in a bullish market. So I'm playing, we had an accumulation here. I was really hoping we'd come into this, right? We don't get that. Apparently the market decided they didn't want to play nice with me. So instead, what do? This is the slingshot right here. Hold on. There we go. So bam. So this is our reaccumulation slingshot that causes the break and that leads to this break anywhere here. So when we measure out the entire move, I wanted us to come back into this, and I actually didn't even look. Hold on. I didn't look to see exactly where we came in, but now it's picking my interest. Oh, all right. So, I mean, news came in, it came pretty damn close to where I wanted to buy out of, but I'm
It's
guessing
funny.
it comes into London open candle is where it came into.
I bought in here because I still have my entries above here, but I bought in here and I bought in on the 1 minute and I
1 minute?
fucking yeah, and I put my stop loss in place and it whipped me out. Yo, I was so tight.
Yeah, but so where'd you get in at?
So I bought in. It was right here. It
You
came
bought
and wicked out. It wicked down. It came, and then I put my stop loss into profit.
right.
And then it came and it wicked that and it wicked me out. And then it's continued going. I was so upset.
Yeah, but so wait a minute. So you get in, so you just do what? Just a 10 pip stop. So what you did? You gave it 11?
Yeah. No, I gave it a little bit, just a tiny bit more room because because it was more of a, this one was a limit, and then once it was this one, I entered a limit here. It was a limit, so it rejects, and then price comes down, and I didn't look. I wasn't on the market, like I
So
wasn't on my phone.
you're, yeah, but
When I was in drawdown, yeah,
yeah,
when I
but
was in
you're
drawdown,
here,
I wasn't on it.
when you're here, right? When you're here, what's telling you to put a limit on this low for 10 pips? Because for me, if I'm here, what am I looking for? I'm looking for a full accumulation. I want to see this, right?
Right, yeah, but I was trying to cast a reversal.
Yeah, but okay. So, I mean, you get it, boom, it breaks and it goes up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wasn't deep in drawdown, like I said.
Okay. All right. I got you. All right. No worries, man. No worries. So for me, I mean, since we're on UJ, for me, what am I looking for next? Right. I mean, I'm still looking for buys. I still want to see where we're currently at. I'm not doing anything with. Right. We came into the area that I saw. What I'm, 100% still ready to take is I'm still waiting for price to come right here. My alert sits right here. If we get that push down, great. If not, what I want to do is play the continuation move. So, like looking at it this morning, I really didn't see any decent reaccumulations to play. You can see Asian session is still intact, right? Asian is still intact, playing into London crossover, and then New York confirms another reaccumulation, right? So, but we don't have any manipulations, right? There's nothing to really play off of this. So for me, I'm just going to kind of sit back and watch UJ. I mean, I would say that, and most of you guys can agree, I've been doing a really good job of watching UJ over the past 2 years, because I think out of 2 years worth of price action, I probably only have caught maybe 24 trades on UJ. It's the pair that just keeps slipping past me. And I'm not able to really capitalize on a lot of positions. This is the one that still hurts, coming into that damn 80%, and I didn't have my limit order there. But it is what it is. So UJ for me, I'm still looking to target new highs, right? I'm still, potentially want to get up into that 140.25 level, where that's maybe where we get into something. When we look at, and the main reason why I'm looking at 140.25, you can't see it on a Wanda's chart, right? So when we come up here on the weekly, you cannot see it on, there we go. You can't see it on a Wanda, because a Wanda only comes back to 2002. But if you go over to FXCM, right, on FXCM, this right here, this last push in here, 80%, right, of the distribution that occurred in here is at 140.25.8. So, if they're going to give something, right, it's got to be here. Okay. And that's kind of what I'm looking at. And what I was talking about with UJ, right? So if we go to a 4-hour chart, right? I mean, you could stay on the daily. You can actually, here, let me go over here. So if you look on a 4-hour chart, all right, and we just put this up like this. If I split screen it, right, and what I was talking about, and this is how I use divergence between the futures market and UJ, right? So if I come over and I throw in the Japanese yen futures, right? You can look at the JXY, but for me, I like Japanese yen futures. All right. But what you have to do is you have to invert the future scale. So if you invert it, right, and if you look the cursor on the top and the bottom, these little dots right here, the cursor, you could see it's the same price action, right? So what I utilize this for is, I know without a doubt, if I'm looking at UJ, I already know what the yen is, if it's strong or weak. And if I know that the dollar is getting ready for a big push to the upside, I already know what I'm doing with this. I'm buying the crap out of UJ, right? Because this tells me that the yen is depreciating. And the only reason that the yen would gain any kind of strength is if money is being flooded into the yen. So if you look at COT reports, which I don't make a habit of looking at too many of them, but because they're delayed data, right? But when I am curious, and most of you guys know that sometimes it piques my interest, I look to see, all right, where are they parking their money? And without really looking at any charts, right? Just knowing what you know from the market, if indices, right? So if indices, right, across the board, whether they're options, whether they're just the actual mutual funds, the EFTs, whether they're the CFDs, whatever they are, right? If indices are an active distribution, right? The go-to over the past few years were always metals, right? That's where they're going to park their money. If metals are also in distribution, because if you looked at gold or silver, they're selling off, right? What off the top of your head could be where they're parking their money? What do you guys think? Where do you guys feel that they're putting? And it's not, and obviously it's not going to the yen because the yen is bearish as crap. There you go. Yeah, Ryan's got it. Well, not bonds. Well, I would take. I would say, Brandon, you're correct. Government-backed bonds are the safest, right? But are we seeing an appreciation? Like when you go over to the typical bond that most use are the 10-year Treasury note, right? So when you come over here to look at the 10-year Treasury note, you definitely see. Hold on. You definitely see an accumulation of sorts, right? But over the past, I mean, just look at this, right? We're bearish as crap on the 10-year note. So where are they putting it? There's only one thing, right? There's only one thing that everyone is scratching their head, because I know I was scratching my head and saying, where the hell is, why is this thing so bullish? And it's this right here, right? This is where they're parking their money. This is where they're taking profits on everything and anything, and they're just loading this sucker up, So from my perspective, yep. The 10-year, you got it, man. Yeah. That's the typical one that everyone kind of puts money into. So they're putting it into Bitcoin. Yeah. I mean, listen, what do you think a lot of these people who made $1 bazillion on Bitcoin in the last big run, where are they parking their money? What did I do with my money? I put it in safe havens, right? So yeah. All right. That's nice little thanks. I'll tell you what, man, thanks for your input on it. I always like to get people's different point of views, yeah, it is what it is. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat. So no worries, man. All right. So we talked about EU, we talked about GU. Let's kind of get into, AU. I'll kind of give you my piece on AU here, right? There we go. So I am still, where the hell are my damn charts, bro? Look at this crap, dude. TradingView. For the amount of money they charge, you would think they're, look at this. Now it's popping in. For the amount of money they charge on this crap, you would think they're going to give something, right? So bigger time frame, right? Immediately when we look, we can say that this distribution is what causes this low, right? So obviously, if we ever make our way back up into here, I'm a seller from that, right? 100% selling from here. However, this is my slingshot, right? This is what caused this push. So for me, this is going to be the first area that I'm actually looking to get into a potential sell on AU, right? And you can see same thing like GU. What do we have? We have a potential distribution, but they're miniature reaccumulations, right? They're more fractal reaccumulations, just walking this up. I'm not interested in selling it until we get the short, right? Until we get the shorting opportunity. So where I want to see us kind of play into is this price action right there. That's what I want to see us get into. Okay. And if we do kind of walk ourselves into this is what I want to see. I definitely want us to take out Asian highs, right? And so if we can get up here with some kind of manipulation, remember tonight we've got Australian news, so I'm expecting us to make a new high with it. And, once we get into this is where I'm going to start looking for signs of distribution. This is where I'm going to be looking for that potential play on AU to short this sucker off. All right. And much like we've been seeing the whole year, the Australian dollar is definitely the laggard, right? The Kiwi, the NZD, is definitely the leader when it comes to the weakness. You can look over at any of the Kiwi or Australian charts, and you'll see that they're definitely showing more weakness in what they're doing. And it's the same kind of price action, right? Give old TradingView a chance to catch up here. But, once we broke this low, right, we know that this is ultimately what they're going to come back into, right? And we know that this is the slingshot that gave us that break. So one of the key areas I'm looking at is right in here. And wouldn't you know, where we actually trade in. So, and this is what I was talking about, where the Kiwi is definitely so much weaker than what the Australian dollar is doing. And this is, for me, this is an active distribution. It's just not ready yet. right? We don't have enough confidence that sellers have filled orders because, what do we see? We just see orders here, we see orders here, and some orders here, right? But they're not doing anything from a cause and effect standpoint, right? Just look what we're driving it to. We're not getting any follow through. We're not getting any signs of true volume sell orders coming into the market. And when we look at where this thing actually during New York session actually comes, right? That's where she comes. And wouldn't you know, if I came over here to kind of get an idea of, well, what did price give us? Let's see. There you go. So this is where we came into right here, right? And it is the area, right? It is the area that I wanted to see it because this is our redistribution right here. And after the break, price came back into this and we never came back to mitigate. So what I was looking for was I was looking for price to come in here. So it actually does. It comes in there. Never in a billion years would I have a limit order on that just because it's not holding any structure and it's not holding anything. But it was something that I was looking at potentially playing off of if it gave that reason to, but this is a really clean redistro. I remember taking this short out of this to short it down and made some decent profits off of it. But AU and NU, I'm definitely still looking for the shorts. I'm not really into, well, one, I'm not going to take any buys on it because I'm not holding any shorts on it. All of my shorts have been closed out or I'm out of those positions. So what I'm going to be waiting for is I'm going to be waiting for what we do in here, right? I want to see, do we confirm something like this, break, and then that's my entry because then we have a confirmed distribution and then I'll short it, right? And then I'll short it. I'm not going to call the bottoms on it, so I'm not going to try to buy it up. For me, it's just not worth it. So that's what I'm doing with the $4 crosses, right? We talked about UJ, and US dollar Swiss franc is another one that I'm really interested in looking at. It's really not typically my main play. And this is what I've said like over the last couple of weeks, that we're just playing order flow, right? Because when we zoom out, we are in this leg right here, right? We're in this leg sitting over here. So what has price done? It's just broken this down. We're here, we've come into this, and now let's see if we walk it down. So as long as I have evidence of buyers coming into this market, I'm going to buy it, especially knowing that the dollar potentially is going to continue bullish, right? So what I was waiting for is, we have an accumulation down here that really hasn't done anything, but it's showing evidence of buyers in the market. We have a reaccumulation that sits here with this being my slingshot. And more importantly, it's the session that makes it important, right? Because if we dive into what this price action actually did, here we go. What do we notice, right? We notice that the reaccumulation there that confirms the break happens with Asian liquidity, happens with a Frankfurt manipulation, and ultimately London Open is right there, right? So the London Open is our manipulation. And if you measure out just the Frankfurt to the London candle, right, this is the 50% right here, 9,605. And where do we come? We come to 9,604 on that news right here. Hold on, I'll show you. So we come right there during New York, during news. And what do? Well, we accumulate, right? We give a nice type 1 accumulation, very clean. This is what it looks like on the 5-minute, but 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive, there's your spring, right? And then we break. And then price ultimately does what? Price attempts to do just a crappy reaccumulation with a shakeout. And we're starting to see evidence of price coming higher, right? So when I look at the price action here, like I already see that we have, oh, come on, TradingView. There we go. All right. So when I look and I see, all right, what is actually happening here? Until we physically trade above this redistribution, right? I'm not going to be really interested in doing much with it, but we see an accumulation, we see a reaccumulation, we see manipulation at, again, London crossover. And then what I want to see is I want to see the continuation to the upside. Okay. So following this along, I haven't taken any kind of trade on this yet, right? This is now going on, I think like 3 days that I've just been following this. And what I want to see is I want to see, all right, we have now broken, I guess I could put this on because we did this morning. We have now broken a very area of supply, right? We've broken that to the upside. And now what we have is we have this accumulation. This is our order flow leg, right? Because of the break of supply. All right. We're still definitely bearish in this aspect here. All right. But now that means that I could start looking for buys with the proper confirmation. All right. And where I want to look for those buys is pretty simple. All right. If I know that this entire area here, right, is where I want to be, this is the 80% of that area. So what gets me into this is any kind of buy in this area here. So we already start to see Asian price action opening up. Does this become the accumulation that gets me in? You know, ideally, does the spring maybe tap into here and then we get this? Absolutely. That's what I'd love to see, right? That's what I would love to see. And if I can get this tomorrow morning when I wake up, right? If we can get Asian price action, just like we saw here and just like we saw back in there, if I can get Asian price action to start building the schematic and then we get Frankfurt open to sweep it, give me the break, give me the mitigation. I'm taking my entry here to take it up. And depending on where we are going into news tomorrow, I'm taking profits, right? My goal is to get above this high up here, right? Get above that high. And now I can start taking some profits and see, do we come back in to mitigate and then go higher? All right. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. All right, good. So that's kind of what I'm watching with this. But when I look at what is going on here, right, I see buy orders, right? I see buy orders getting filled with manipulation to the downside, and I like it, right? I like it. You know, every attempt, you know, like this right here, I'm not buying out of Asian price action because I know it's going to get swept, right? And that's what we did, right? This for me was important, right? Taking out these sellers that were in here out of that distribution. And now I just want to see, can we come back into this area right here? And can we get an accumulation? And if I can get an accumulation there, I want to take it up. All right. So that's what I'm doing with Chef. Chef, UJ, I talked about those. Chef J, you know, what the heck? We were looking at buys on Chef J. Actually, I don't know. I doubt Thomas is on here, but did anybody this morning catch Chef J? Because I kick myself, and Thomas told me, I'll give him credit tomorrow morning, man. But Thomas goes, well, what if we just put the damn stop loss below the reaccumulation? It'd be a 1.5 pip stop, and we should have taken that damn trade. So we'll get into it, but let's look at what Chef J has done, right? So we know that we essentially reaccumulate here, right? We reaccumulate, and the reaccumulation ends into a distribution, right? And that distribution for me, until we break order flow, is just the cause to get back into our area. So way back, I don't know what date was this. We looked, so back at September 19th or July 19th, I was looking for price to come in here. Well, sure enough, did we not get a damn accumulation in there? We did, right? Very, very clean accumulation. So if we come over here and we look and we go down to a 5-minute, you know, what do we see? This is exactly the price action. This is why I love to trade Chef J, man, because it gives such phenomenal price action. So what do we have? We have an accumulation, right? We have our climax to our rally. We have a test, right, to an up thrust action. We have a test in B. It's just a test at that point. But then once we get our spring, right, then we now have a test in B, and then we break, right? We break structure. Now, this to me isn't real because this is at changeover. So this is the high that actually matters, right? So at this point, once we break, which I think we do like right there, we have a confirmed type 1 accumulation in the point of interest that I'm looking at, right? And if you don't see it already, this is where training your eye is very important. We have a type 1 accumulation in there, right? So in the fourth drive, I have no problem looking for an entry within my fourth drive of my schematic, right? So what we have is Can I go 30-second? I think I can. There we go. All right. So what we have here is we have a really clean schematic, right? You can see this is happening during London price action, right? This is the London open at the white. Start of the white is London open. And we have really good price action, right? We have, a schematic, climax, test, spring. Spring breaks, comes back into I think it's 50% of this, and then off she goes. So what I want to see out of this, right? What I want to see is I want to see price now come back and give me a potential entry out of my spring. And this is my spring, right? You could see I've got 80% of the spring marked off, right? If I measure out my spring, that's where I want to see price come back into. All right. So if we play this out, let's get up to like a better time frame real quick. What is the yellow block? Asian price action. Yeah. Well, at least what I want to calculate is Asian price action. So what do we get? We get price that now gives us a potential reaccumulation, right? Because we see a distribution, right? Here's your distribution. All right. You see one drive down, which gives us a sign of weakness that just trades into 50% of essentially our spring. And then we get a 2 drive down. So how many times have you heard me say a redistro or a reaccumulation needs to start as a distro and accumulation? And that we'll take, for instance, a distribution needs a minimum of 3 drives up, 1, 2, 3 drives with 2 drives down, right? So when we see that second drive down, this is our shakeout. And what did this do? Wait, let's see. At 4 a.m. my time, what do you mean? Oh, yeah. This wasn't, why do you think I'm not in the trade, man? I was snoozing right here. There ain't nothing to do here. But what do we have? We have Asian liquidity that gets swept, right? And then we break the high, right? We break the high. So for me, this entire area, and I know I had it at one point, but this entire area, there it is. This entire price action now is a confirmed reaccumulation. Right? So we have a confirmed reaccumulation. And now my point of interest is going to be in this move right here, because this is where the sell occurs. This is where the buy occurs. And I give props to Thomas because he said it and I dispelled it. I should have listened to him. I'll give him credit tomorrow, but I hope he took the damn trade. But let's look at the price action, right? What do we get? So what we got here was, we know that 80% is this line right here. So there's no way ever on Chef J that I am taking a 9.7 pip stop, right? I'm never taking 9.7 pips on Chef J. So what we talked about this morning was, well, what can we see? Well, we know that this is a point of interest for me right here, but we also see a reaccumulation, and we see that reaccumulation that gives a shakeout right there. So measuring this reaccumulation right here, our shakeout, this is 80%, right? This is the 80% of that shakeout. So and actually, hold on, I take it back. This is the 80% right here. So you can see the lines right here. This is the 50, this is the 80, right? So what we were talking about this morning was putting a limit of this right here, which was, 2.8 pips, which was more doable. Splitting the risk, putting half your limit here and then waiting for the schematic, right? And putting the rest of your limit off the schematic. If you get stopped out on the limit, it's not so bad. So that's ideally what we wanted to see. And I know a couple of you guys took the schematic that presented a little higher. I was a little more hesitant on taking it just because I was really watching indices and I felt that we were going to come a little lower into the area that I wanted to see the buy, right? So we'll just play it out, show you exactly what's happening. And we're coming into New York Open right now. So this is New York Open price action. and we're just dancing around. Nothing I'm trading for out of here. Nothing I'm doing in here, because even on this 1 minute, there's just no evidence of buyers coming in yet, right? I want to see us come into an area of demand, and this reaccumulation, right? Or this push right in here is where I want to see it. I want to see us come into this area right here. So we walk in, and let's get into the price action that we were looking at, right? So I know this was the limit, or not the limit, but the schematic that some of the guys were looking at in here, right? Again, I wasn't too convinced on this, right? What I did want to see, and we'll kind of walk it in here. What I did want to see was, I wanted to see us just really come in. Here we go. I wanted to see us come in. And this was, correct me if I'm wrong, right? This is the schematic you guys took right here. But this, I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing that schematic. I mean, it did show a sign, right? It did show a sign of strength out of it. And in actuality, I mean, I probably would have taken it. You know, I mean, you're pretty darn close to that 50%. It looked good. So this would be an instance where, you know, I mean, maybe put a little bit of risk here and still wait to see, do we come back down and have this as a larger schematic? Do we get something like this? Boom. Right? That's ideally what I was hoping for. And, you know, I had my alert down in the low, but, you know, we'll see what price does, right? Price comes in, collapses, and then the rest was history. Never gave an entry, never gave anything else. We just took off, right? Just took off. And I kicked myself, because looking back at it, this is one that I'll probably back test this weekend and just kind of put some thoughts as to why I didn't want to put it on at that time. Because where this is sitting at right now, right? This thing is sitting at about a 1 to 30. And for me, it's got every possibility of, you know, breaking this new high, which is what I'm targeting, right? I'm targeting. It gave a flip zone entry. I have no idea what a flip zone entry is, but yeah, for me, it was a really good play right off of the slingshot. Yeah. So what I'm looking for us to do now, right? What I want to see is, I want us to come back into the reaccumulation, right? So if you look at where we're sitting at, let's go 1 minute. So where I want us to play back into is this reaccumulation right here. That's where I want us to come back into. Flip zone is a structural failure. Okay. All right. Yeah. But this is where I want to play back into right here. This is the reaccumulation that I want it to come back into. You know, it is essentially the slingshot that causes the break, right? I like it. I mean, there is an accumulation in there. It's just it's not an accumulation I play. You know, this is a valid accumulation. And you can see the orders getting filled in it. So that's what I'm going to be looking for on Chef J. All right. Okay. So if we get back in there, great. That's where I ultimately want to come back into and play into. All right. I like the buys. Again, I'm going to be targeting new highs, right? I'm going to be targeting highs above here, because I'm definitely looking to take this higher. You know, when we look at what this distribution did, it just came back into an area of demand, accumulated, reaccumulated, and potentially I want to see another reaccumulation to take it higher. All right. The CAD-J, we'll talk about CAD-J. CAD-J, I'm not really interested in too much. I'm going to play continuation moves on it. So just looking at where CAD-J is, right? You know, we accumulated in the area that I was looking at, and potentially this is going to turn into another reaccumulation. So for me, it's kind of just going to sit on the back burner until we confirm another massive higher time frame reaccumulation, or we trade lower. Right. Because I'm not playing the in-between games. There's definitely better price action and cleaner price action on other pairs for me to really want to play anything on CAD-J, but I'm still going to have it. I'm still going to be looking at what CAD-J is doing in case it gives me an opportunity. Because right now, like if we break this high, I'm definitely going to be interested in what we did during New York today. Right. That's going to be potentially where I'm going to be targeting a pullback to get into something there. All right. And then on ACAD and NCAD, so ACAD yesterday, I took a bunch of sells. I did work in some entries, did get some profits out of it, but ended up just collapsing on me. So I'm not really, let's see, I'm not really interested. These are all the orders I was taking in here. And I mean, they gave me some partials. I mean, what was I at? Like a 1 to 16, a 1 to 12. I think the other one was like a 1 to 6 before they all kind of hit my break even. But we are still in active distribution, and this is the area that I wanted to see us distribute out of. The only thing I really wanted to see, we have our manipulation, right? So if let me hide the drawing tools. There we go. So we have our schematic, right? We have our U-tab, but there's no follow through, right? You can see my alert sitting right down here because I'm not really touching ACAD until we break that low and then potentially walk itself back, right? I'm not worried about these wicks. This is all just a ghost feed. That's changeover. But I want to see if we can actually get that push to the downside to get the weakness, right? I'm still holding a bunch of ACAD and NCAD shorts from the previous weeks. So that's kind of where I'm looking at. And if we do go higher, right? If we do go higher, let me go 30-minute. So if we go higher, where I'm going to be looking is up here, right? And I'll just be sitting back waiting to see when we get back up into that area. That's something I'll be looking at, right? Whether or not we actually play into this redistribution or whether we play into this manipulation. Those are going to be the two sources of interest that I'm going to be really focused on once we get above this area. Until we get up to that area, though, I'm not really going to be looking to do much with it. All right. And of course, NCAD, we know that the Kiwi is definitely weaker. So we do have a little divergence, and you can already see how we traded below that, right? We already showed, we gave some weakness in there, but we haven't broken order flow, right? Because if this is the high and this is the new high, that means that this is what's maintaining this order flow leg. And we're still bullish, right? I mean, we're still in this, for me, what I'm anticipating, just like, you should be looking at this as a potential redistro in the making. You have an accumulation, right? You have price just walking itself up back into our areas of supply. And ultimately what I want to see is this, right? Break through our ice, confirm redistribution, walk itself back up, play it, and just keep shorting it, just like we've done over and over and over again, right? I mean, I know with some of these plays, for me, it's a waiting game, right? We have to wait for price, just like we did here. You have to wait for price to confirm the redistro, let it walk up into supply, sell it off, right? And sometimes they don't, right? I mean, if you look back up here, right, that's what I was anticipating here, and we just never got that pullback. Price just continued to fall off. ACAD, similar thing, similar situation with ACAD. I'm going to be looking for, evidence of the redistribution, just like we saw here, right? When we came in and we redistributed, what was I looking for? Us to come right back in there. And that was the big short, right? That was the short that gave us a couple hundred pips to the downside, right? So that's what I'm going to be looking for with ACAD and NCAD. I think we potentially could see something happen this week with them, and we see where it goes from there, right? So on indices, right? Indices, we have some major divergence, right? Overall, I'm bearish on them, right? I want to short them. We'll start with NASDAQ because it's the easiest. NASDAQ coming into that supply area. I'm not totally convinced that we're going to short yet, right? So we came in. There we go. So we came into the distro and we sold off, right? Actually, there's my stupid alert. We sold off. However, we're still in bullish order flow because we accumulated here, we broke. So we did this to this, and then we broke. So now we're here to here, accumulation, right? And now we're in this leg right here. So this is the slingshot reaccumulation that caused the break. And I was curious to, I wanted to see if we can get into area of demand down in here to see if we can bring this up. It definitely hasn't given me a lot of confidence to take much with NASDAQ. I've just been sitting on the sideline with it. I've been more interested. So what I was trying to do with it was trying to see, okay, do we play out of anything in here, which gave me absolutely no indication that we were seeing evidence of buyers. And then of course I was trying to short it today, but came just short, right? I was looking for a short out of London crossover right in here. We never got anything up there. And then right at New York Open, I was trying to short out of the redistro up here. We didn't get anything out of that. So actually, I think it probably came in there now. Let's see. I guarantee you it came in here. So we'll see what happens. I'm really interested to see what happens after London, right? Just looking at what we did here, if we end up pushing higher, essentially I would say like above here, I'd be definitely interested in this accumulation down here, right? If NAS were to break that SC, would you then look for shorts? If NAS were to break the SC, would you look for shorts? What SC on what time frame? I won't look for long-term shorts on NASDAQ until US 30 and SPX give me confirmations, right? If you think about the market cap on NASDAQ as opposed to US 30 or SPX, it's a fraction of what the SPX is. The largest market cap there is, right? And then you have the Dow Jones behind it. So, if the three benchmarks are moving, yeah, NASDAQ could be leading it all the way. But until we get into an area where I'm going to be confident in taking long-term shorts on US 30 or SPX, I'm not going to really start focusing on NASDAQ as much. Yeah, so I won't look until, going over to like U30, going over to U30. Come on now. Right? This is where I want to sell from on U30. And if you look at what U30 is doing, we're still bullish, right? We haven't even broken order flow, right? What we have done is we are bullish in this leg right here after reaccumulating, right? This is the reaccumulation. And this is still an area down in here that I would definitely, there's a micro accumulation that I was trying to buy out of. If we come down into there, I'm definitely going to be looking for buys, right? Because this distribution hasn't done anything, right? All it's done is getting us it's getting us into a potential pullback area where we can look for a potential buy. So U30 is still very, very much bullish in my opinion, right? What I want to see is, do we get, and this was the short I took this morning or this afternoon. But I want to see now some evidence of strength. All of this in here was giving us some really good evidence of strength, but it was just sideways, right? There wasn't any clear, definitive reason for me to take any positions today until we came, and I'll just show you the short I took on it, until we failed to break the New York high, right? When we failed to take the New York high, there was a micro in here that I missed. And when you look at, and there's your micro, right? You had your micro in here that comes into the high. Once we confirm the break, right? Once we confirm the break here, this was the redistro that I wanted to play out of. All I did was just measure out the redistro and took it off the 80. So, and what do? We had another redistro. And my target is this low, right? New York low. That was my very first target. And then of course, taking it down, I ended up closing out like 75% volume right here when we started accumulating. So this was a quick little 1 to 15. And I'm curious to see where we actually came to just now, because I was looking, actually, no, it's right here, right? Yeah. So I was looking to see if we can come into this 80% of this redistribution, and it just sucks the timing. Is that where we came? Oh, son of a gun, on the money. Well, all right. It is what it is. You can definitely see it at the close of the market. What do we get? We get an accumulation, right? We got a decent accumulation, this being the spring, right? I won't look to buy anything out of there until we actually do something with it. So I'd like to see if we do push higher. So just looking at indices, hold on, let me mark this off. So what gets me into this buy? I want to see, do we get above yesterday's high? If we can get above yesterday's high, you already see the accumulation in play. this isn't an area of demand, right? I'd be looking for price to come back in here so I can take this higher. What do I think about EJ? Nothing. It's on my secondary list. I'm not interested in trying to trade EJ. You know, the euro is extremely weak and so is the yen. So, you know, I'm not interested in playing sideways price action. Today, US 30 gave 3 nice entries, really? For what? For buys or for sells? Obviously for sells, I'm guessing, right? Could we have set the limit from the UTAD to short today? Could we have set the limit? Which UTAD, bro? Hold on. I'm going to make it bigger. Which UTAD? Yeah, but we don't have a UTAD there. Right? Where's your UTAD? Where's your manipulation? So for me, it's a type 2, and I don't play type 2s, you know? Yeah. So what I was doing, I was going to play when we came into it, I was going to play the micro there. I was definitely going to play the micro. So no, what part, if it doesn't trade above here, how can that be an upthrust? It's just another secondary test, right? It's just an ST. So you have 1 drive, 2 drive, 3 drive, 4 drive, 5 drive, but no manipulation. So if there's no manipulation, I'm not going to trade it because I suck at trading type 2s. Yeah. Yeah. So the only entry I was able to get in here, where you said there was 3 entries. What were the 3 entries that you took? Because for me, this was really the only entry I had. This one right here. We were still waiting for a schematic for the big short. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I want to see if we can get up a little higher, and that's where I want to short from. So absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Ideally, I think we may, depending on what happens, you know, like I said, if we break to the upside tonight, I'll be definitely looking for a continuation move to the upside. Like I'll play reaccumulations. And if we end up, obviously, so I've got an alert down here, right? If we end up trading just lower, then I'm just going to play the shorts, right? I mean, we'll have potentially something in here. Like right off the bat, I'll tell you that's going to be my point of interest, right? I mean, the fact that we came right into the 80% of this stupid redistro, that's going to be huge. Could you explain why you wouldn't look for shorts on NASDAQ if we break 11,830, since it would be a change of character? Let's see, 11,830. Let's see, 11,830. 11,830, which would be, oh, this low right here. Why is that your change of character though? Yeah. What do I do if price keeps missing my POI? Figure out where it's actually coming to. Change your POI. Figure out why your POI is not, I guess, accurate or not on point. Yeah, figure out where price is reacting from. That's the POI. Yeah, so for me, this was just that break, but remember, this is actually the break, right? So when we break here, we come from here like that on the order flow, we come down here, and then we do this. So all this is just a massive reaccumulation. Now I'm interested in looking for buys out of here if we get it. I just don't think we're going to come down that far. So yeah, this isn't a change of character for me. And I guess it just depends on what your definition of a change of character is, right? My definition of a change of character would be evidence. So in a bullish market, change of character is evidence of supply testing. The first change of character is always going to be supply's test of the commitment of sellers and a potential point of interest, right? It's the SC that caused the higher time frame break. Okay. Yeah. But what's that have to do with, I mean, if I have, let's just say that I have a, we'll say price comes here, right? Comes here, accumulates. That accumulates then comes to the reaccumulation that leads this break. Just because we break this doesn't mean I'm not going to have a limit order out of here to take this higher, because this is what's maintaining my leg. I can, yeah, I mean, I definitely got plenty of charts where I have a limit order off the extreme and we end up going higher in a bullish market. So this right here is not a reason for me to look for shorts. Yeah. Okay. Do you think indices, especially US 30 and SPX, could come into the 80 of the previous distro? What do you mean, the bigger time frame one? You talking about like this one up here? Hold on. As soon as TradingView decides it's gonna give me something here. Yeah, I mean, so I guess the question is like, what distro are you referring to on U30? Because for me, there's multiple places where this thing could come into. So that's why I'm going to wait for a schematic, right? Ideally, where I want it to come into is this right here. That's where I want us to come into. So I want to play into something here, or I want to play into this price action up here. But yeah, I mean, that's where I'll be looking now. Could we play into the slingshot right here? Yeah, we could. So ideally, you know, we get anywhere. Where's my box? Yeah, there we go. So we get anywhere into this price action right here. I'm going to be looking for shorting opportunities, right? Same thing with SPX. And this is already, I'll tell you right now, man, this is giving me the feeling of reaccumulation. Just looking at it on the 1 hour, it's giving me a feeling of reaccumulation. You know, same thing with SPX, right? Like where do I want to play into? So I want to play into this price action right here, you know, and when we look at, let me go to, no, hold on. Let me go to there. Perfect. So when we look at this move, right, we know that price breaks here. We know that the distribution causes it, the distribution tapping into the redistro that happens here into 50% of it, right? And then what we see is the accumulation. We do this, right? Break order flow. Then we reaccumulate, right? 1 drive, 2 drive down. We do this. So now we're pretty much in this leg and we're seeing evidence of a distribution. My question is, where the hell are they distributing from? Like this right here? That puny little thing. When you look at the volume that goes into that, right? Just think about effort and equity of reason for price to short. That's just the continuation move, right? That's the redistribution. This for me is where the sell orders are. This for me is where the potential drawdown is. And this for me is where evidence of supply would come back into the market. So when I look at what is going on here, you know, and I really pay attention to the price action, I don't see evidence of a tremendous amount of sell orders being filled here, right? If anything, this right here is mostly just profit taking from the last 2 weeks of just killing the market in the bullish run up. And what I'd be interested in seeing is, does this accumulation now jump our creek? And do we ultimately do something like this? And that's what, if I was a betting man, that's honestly what I feel like is going to happen with this. Right. Same thing when we look at U30, you know, U30, what's missing from the distro on U30? A lack of weakness, right? We have tremendous divergence, right? To me, U30 is the leader, right? It's failing to break this low where SPX has already done that. So we have SPX divergence, right? Meaning SPX is the laggard. And what I'd like to see is continuation to the upside so that we can buy it to get up into the sell area. Because we're from current price, I think we're over 1,000 pips. I'm sorry, 1,000 points, not even pips. That's 10,000 pips for the people that I love when people talk about US 30 and stuff like that in pip counts. It's a 10,000 pips. Cracks me up. But yeah, we're 990 points, right? From the area where I even want to start looking for shorts. So we're about 1,000 points. I mean, that's a big run to the upside. And again, characteristics of sellers coming into market, there's no weakness. We're not seeing that. We're not seeing it here. And even on SPX, like I said, I mean, what are they distributing out of? What are they distributing out of? Like this puny little thing here? That's not giving me a lot of confidence, right? This was just a continuation move during London price action. There's not even a manipulation in that, you know? So, for me, this is very indicative of reaccumulation to the upside. We wait here for the short. And that's kind of where I'm going to be looking. I'm going to be looking for potential buys to the upside if we can get it. And, go from there. Again, the key is trading, reacting to what price is giving us. Today, I mean, just look at the price action that we saw over the last 48 hours. There's nothing, man. There is just really nothing going on in here. If anything, what it's telling me is they're just waiting for tomorrow, and if we can get some kind of, definitive reason to get into a position, I'll be looking, I mean, right now I'll be looking for buys. I mean, the way it's shaping up, I just want to see some kind of break to the upside. And that accumulation from end of market is really giving me a good sense of, buyers came into this market and filled those orders, and if we can see price, like I said, if price can walk itself up tonight, that may be something that I try to position in tomorrow. I can tell you that I'm not going to be setting any limits for FOMC, because I know last FOMC, I was trying to take a buy in US 30. And typically I'm looking at about a 1 to a 1.5 point spread. And I know spreads were like at 12 points after the news release for like an hour. And I'm not giving my broker 12 points, right? That's out of this world, 12 points. I mean, my stop loss on US 30 is sometimes 12 points. So I'm not cutting my risk in half. I'm not cutting my R to R in half on it. But that's really what I'll be looking at. Again, really CAD-J is just on my secondary list, but this is really what I'm going to be looking at for this week. I know someone wanted to look at EJ. I mean, I'll look at it real quick, but I'll tell you right now, I got nothing on it. What's EJ doing? EJ's doing nothing. So there you go. That's pretty much what I'm looking at. I'm looking for buys out of this right here. So I've been waiting. It would seem since the beginning of June, I've been waiting for EJ to finally walk its way up down there, and we haven't gotten it. So yeah, I'm not really doing much with EJ. When we get down here, I'll look at it, or if we confirm reaccumulation, right? But we're still, I mean, it's walking itself down. There's not much I want to do. And from a time perspective, right? I mean, this is from the area I even want to start looking for buys. We're 350 pips away on EJ, or 530. This isn't happening tomorrow. This ain't happening Thursday, right? So I don't even need to worry about it until my alert goes off. When my alert goes off, I'll give it a shout. What do you think about the news for the USD? What do you mean? What do I think about the news? I think they're going to do a 75 point basis increase. I think that's what's going to happen. I think, obviously, you're going to get an initial reaction. I think personally, I think the dollar is going to sell off, and then we're going to continue up to the upside. I don't think raising the rate as drastic as they're doing it is going to slow down inflation. I don't think it's going to slow down investors continuing to flood into the dollar. I mean, if I had $1 bazillion right now, what's the safest place to park it? It's in greenbacks. I mean, just look across the world right now, and you look at any kind of anti-inflationary measures being taken. None of them were working. The fact that we've just flooded the market over the last 36 months with all kinds of currencies to try to stave off pandemics and everything that's going on with it has done nothing, right? So, I think really the only thing that's going to have to happen is they're going to have to take drastic. I mean, I'm not an economist, an economist. I mean, I've studied economy, I've studied macro and microeconomics. I would say that, you know, from my amateur opinion, you know, what they're doing is not right. What they're doing is not going to stave off what's happening to the currency. They're going to have to devalue the currency is what they're going to have to do, you know, and they're not going to want to do that because that's bad, right? That's what we blame, you know, countries like China for doing. And we, you know, put a stigma on it that you know, it's derogatory. So, I mean, that's the only way that's going to do it. So I do think that the dollar is going to continue bullish. I think the Euro USD is going to continue going bearish. You know, I think across the board, the dollar is just going to continue to strengthen on it, which is bad. You know, anybody that thinks that the dollar being strong is a good thing, whether you live in the US or not, it's not, right? I mean, it hurts us from a GDP or a global export side. It hurts us. The only way it actually benefits anybody is if you get paid in dollars and you live overseas and you can convert it. But even that, I mean, it's not worth it. You know, the cost of goods and services are going higher. So even though that the dollar is increasing in value, it's not like you're getting, you know, 14 eggs for the price of 12. You're not, you're getting your dollar's worth more, but you're getting less product for that. So, and that's the whole very nature of inflation, right? But yeah, that's kind of my thought on EJ. I'm not really doing much with it. When we get down here, I'll take a look at it. If we reaccumulate, I'll take a look at it. But either way, we've got a couple hundred pips for me to decide what I want to do with it. And I don't play in the middle, right? I don't play this stuff here because it's all just crappy order flow and there's nothing really going to happen with it. Yeah. Yep. You got it. So, and that's pretty much it. That's everything I'm looking at. I mean, gold, I know somebody asked me about gold, but I mean, we're bearish. I mean, I don't know what more to say. We've been bearish on this for a while. I mean, what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating, what did I say, like 15? I'm anticipating this right here. This is where I'm expecting us to come. 1500 to like 1575, you know. I know we broke this low. Well, maybe on another feed we broke that low, I thought. No, not quite yet. But yeah, I mean, silver 100%. I'm committed to getting down into this area right here, right? So I mean, I'm massively bearish, but I'm not trading it. I don't have the ability to trade it with low spread, so it's not worth something that I do, you know. But yeah, I'm definitely bearish on it. I know I've seen a lot of people trying to buy it, but I don't quite understand the buy on gold. I mean, it's not showing me any reason to buy this thing, you know. But that's it. That's pretty much everything I'm looking at. You always learn something new. Awesome, man. Yeah. Good. I mean, that's the whole point, right? Make sure that you're progressing, you're moving forward. So I can tell you that, I mean, I've been doing this going on 5 years, and every week I still learn something. You know, I still sit back and do a back test session and, you know, learn something from price action or learn something to make my entries just a little better, make my, you know, more importantly, not even the entry, but the trade management part of it that much better. You know, I can't stress enough how much journaling has improved my trading, you know. And yeah, I mean, the progression is always a plus. You know, you go back and look at 2 years ago, some of the videos on my YouTube channel, and then you look at how I'm trading now, you know, it's still the same basic concept. It's just, you know, I would say I'd have a more refined position on how I take things and how I look at it. So quick little thing. So I posted on my YouTube channel for those of you guys holding Flux in your Zelcore wallet. They released the airdrop for Avalanche. So there's a video on there. If you have Zelcore, you have Flux in your Zelcore prior to whatever the May 5th or whatever it was, the date for the airdrop, you got Flux waiting for you. So I had in one account, I had like 55 Flux, and the other account, I think I had like 18 or something like that. So it's there. I did a video on how to pretty much how to claim it. And I also showed how to do your parallel assets. So my suggestion, like I said in the video, do your parallel assets once a year, because you're going to get dropped every every month you get a parallel asset drop, but you have to pay gas fees for it. So just pay once a year your gas fees. You'll collect, you know, a couple hundred flux from doing it, and go from there. So you got it. You got it. Yeah. Listen, as always, man, thanks for hopping on, guys. If, you know, hit me up on the socials. If you need something, I'll try to answer you as, you know, as quickly as I get. I do get it probably, I don't know, a couple hundred messages a week. So, but yeah, trade safe tomorrow. Listen, I mean, everyone's a grown person in here. I can tell you that, I'm going to be nowhere near my MT5 charts, trying to take a position anywhere close to 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow when FOMC comes out, because there is going to be one hell of a wick that's going to come out, whether it's a real life wick or your broker manipulation. You know, brokers, these market makers and stuff like that, they love to throw the manipulation out there and just say that it was spread. So, you know, slippage is a real thing, and I'm not in the habit of giving my broker a couple $1,000 of mine every time I want to take a trade. So, you know, as always, trade safe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next week. Have a great one. Enjoy.